So figures 1, 2, and 3. And I want you to think, what transformation is going from 1 to 2 to 3? And what you're going to be asked to do is give, like, that pattern. So, taking a look, numbering them 1 to 2 to 3. Callie, from 1 to 2, what do you think? I think reflect 2. We're going to say we're going to reflect over which axis? I heard it, someone say it, x-axis, right? So our first step would be to go from 1 to 2 is reflected over the x-axis. And then, what are we doing, Jordan? What does it look like after we've reflected? Transit. So let's go S all the way over to K, right? And it might be easier looking at your workbook and counting than it is to look up here, right? So we're going to say now we're going to translate. And we're going to translate x comma y to, how far to the right, Jordan? What'd you count? X plus x plus 6. Haley, what are you going to, how far down are we moving? From S to get to K. You can count better in your notes. Look, it'll be easier to count from S going down to K and y minus 3. Everyone agree? Okay. Could we have said to the right 6 and down 3? All right, that's the same as this. Right 6, down 3. That means exactly the same as this, okay? All right. So in your homework, you're going to be given something like this. So we're reading about congruency. Congruent polygons have the same shape, corresponding sides are the same size. We use that symbol, means congruent. A sequence of translations, reflections, rotations. The distance and angle measures stay the same, so that's part of our definition of congruent. So images will be congruent to the original. Two figures are congruent if their sequence of transformations, not including a dilation, map one onto the other. Does it look like these two are congruent? Yes. How could we prove it? What do we need to know that's the same up here? What did it say? What's one of the things? Raise your hand. One of the things that we need to prove that they are congruent. Look up here at what it was telling us for what it said. Greta, what's one of them? They need to be the same shape, but with that same shape, what else has to be the same going around them? Kennedy.
Wait, isn't it like the side length?
The sides must be the same length. And it's really easy to look at AD, right? Notice I don't put the segment over the top, I just put AD. That means the distance from A to D, it's 2. On the top over here, AD is going to be the same length as HE, right? We have to have the same angles too. So the two things, it has to have the same shape, and with that, that means all the sides have to be the same length, and the next thing is all the angles have to be the same measure. And when I talk about them being the same measure, what I really mean is like angle D has to be equal, and I usually use this M for measure. Measure of angle D has to equal the measure of angle H. And then we'd say what? That measure of angle B is going to be the same as which one? Measure of angle F. Okay? So we're looking at this picture and it says, well, what transformations happened? And this is where I need you to kind of show me this. So if this is my first figure, this is figure 1, and this is my figure 2, how am I getting from 1 to 2? Discuss really quietly with your shoulder partner right now, and then we're going to try and put that up. What do you think? Talk with the people, Lisa, Ariana, Devin. Okay? What are you thinking, George? Talk together.
Can you write it down?
We're going to do it in just a minute. All right, Kate, Noah, what do you think?
Rotate it 180.
Rotate 180. Does it fit exactly when we rotate 180? Okay, let's check it out. Rotate 180. Let's pick a point like B, right? B was located where? B was located at -3, 1. So the new, if I do 180, what should the new B prime become? +3, -1, right? Positive should become just the opposite, right? If it's 180. Isn't that our rule for 180? X, Y? Okay, so xy becomes -x, -y. I agree with the 180. I like that. Rotate it 180. That is going to come up, though, right here. Right? Here's B prime. Now, I know I might do point C. Where's point C located? I'm not going to do all of them, but I'm going to do a couple of them on each page. -2, 0. So that one's kind of nice to do, right? So where is my B C prime going to be? It's going to be at, wait, -2, 0,
2, 0.
Okay, good. 2, 0. So 2, 0. Right? So does that look like it's going to match up this one here? Yeah. So I did a rotated of 180. Now what is my next step, Maya? What do I have to do to slide to get this B onto F and to C onto G? How am I going to translate? You can tell me in words or you can tell me the rule. I'm going up 2 and to the left 1. If I was going to write that as a sequence, Devin, tell me. There you go. Okay, I can write it this way, translate it that way, or I can write it out as a rule. Does that make sense? Okay. So we look at this top of the next page. And again, 14 isn't going to be due, and hopefully tomorrow we're going to get on that green box. And by the way, those of you that got up and gave your speeches today for student council, great job. Good luck to all of you for doing that. That's being very brave, getting up in front of your classmates. So nice job. So Sammy, this is what you were talking about. It's not a triangle anymore, right? So they say, what is the sequence to get A, B, C, D onto our RSTU? So this is our first figure that we're starting with. This is figure 1, and we're getting it to here. I want you to just discuss really quietly, what do you think is happening with your shoulder partner? There's at least 2 steps, and I think we can do it easily in 2. Okay? And remember yesterday's video, we said sometimes there's different ways of doing it too, right? All right. Daisy, Kelly, you guys got something? Rotate 90, counter. Does that look like it to you guys? I think it looks like it. So we're going to say rotate 90 counterclockwise. I like that. Rotate 90 degrees counterclockwise. So remember, that rule would be saying XY changes to, what would it be, Bergen, if it's counterclockwise? -YX. All right. So we're just going to pick 2 points. Let's do A and B only. A was originally located. Find that for me and find B. Do that right now. Write those ordered pairs down. So if I call on you, you're ready. Okay. Then we're going to do the A prime because it's not going to match up with S and R right away. And we're going to do B prime. All right. Sophie, what do you have for A? Where is it located?
2, 4.
2, 4. So our new A prime, Sophie, is going to be where?
A prime would be -4, 2.
-4, 2. Okay. So I'm going to go to -4, kind of see if that's going to work right away. -4, 2. Okay, that looks like it could be, right? Where is point B located? If I am looking at that one, Haley, where'd you find B? 4, 3. So my new B prime is going to have to be located at -3, 4. -3. Okay, so this was A prime. This was my B. Now, I could probably do C, right? Because that's really nice, right? Because B and C, I could do that. And I don't even have to do D. I kind of get the idea. So now I want to move it. Brooke, Now how am I moving it after that rotate? What's my second step gonna be? What do you think, Bert? I need to get this to be right on top of that R. I'm gonna translate. How am I translating it? Just down. Down 5. I can use my notation and say X is not changing, right? And Y was -5. So this is what you're going to be asked to do in your homework. You're going to have 2 shapes, or actually they give you 3 shapes. One is not part of it, one's not congruent. And they say come up with a sequence. So I want you to look at this one. This is very similar to the one in the video yesterday, right? One of the things you kind of want to think, if I go from A to B, I'm going clockwise around it, right? If I'm going from D, we think D and A match up, don't you agree? A, so if I'm going to say triangle A, D is in the same spot. This one I was going around it clockwise, right? This one I'm going counterclockwise, which means I have to have what? What had to happen to change orientation?
Reflection.
Has to be a reflection, right? Has to be a reflection somewhere. I might have something else besides a reflection. I'm going to show you guys this one just because of our time limitations.
Wait, are we doing all of them?
Okay? I want you to take a look at this one. This is what they said. They said let's rotate it 90 degrees clockwise. So I want you to put this down. We're going to rotate 90 clockwise first. So if I was thinking about a couple of the points, like point B is located at -1, -1, 4. When I do that first one to get B prime, I am taking a look at it being with a 90 degrees clockwise. That's where I go with 4. And if we were looking at that one, 4, 1, right? And so I go, oh yeah, this is kind of like where B prime is, right? I might not need to graph every single one because once I found that B prime was in this location, I can kind of go up 3 and out 2 and find the other 2 points. And now is when we did that last one of a reflection, okay? Are there other ways we could have done this? Do you think I could have reflected down here first and then rotated? Probably. There is more than one way when we are doing these. I just want you to be aware of that, okay? So take a look at the next page. This is what your homework looks like in 13. It looks like this, and it says, compare these triangles. Which ones are congruent? Is ABC congruent to DEF? Are they the same?
Yes. No.
No. So, I might look at the sides, and from C to B, it's over 1 and up 2. This is 2, 2. This is a 1, 3. This is a, no, those 2 are not. Are DEF, going from D to E to F, to GHI. 2, 2, 1, 3, 1, 3, 3, 1. Looks like yes. ABC to GHI. No. Okay. So we can see our yes, we can see our no. And now it says, okay, now we got to prove that these 2. What would you have to do you think? That's a pretty simple one, right? We're just going to translate it. Translate, what's our rule? We're going to move it back 2 and down 4. Could you tell me to the left 2 and down 4 also? Yes. I really do prefer this notation. That's kind of, I don't know, did any of you on the state assessment have any of these where you kind of had to explain congruencies or you had to do the flips or do that kind of thing?
I did.
Some of them came up for some people. So since they're translated one on top of the other, make sure you have this part down. This is what I'm going to ask you in your homework. We're going to say, are they congruent? Yes. Why? Same size, same shape. Yes.
Since they're not different colors, like, would it be wrong to have X plus 2 and Y plus 4? Because they are.
They're going to usually tell you going from one to the other.
Yeah, but like in this situation.
No, it would not be wrong. If you said, oh, and like on a quiz, You said, oh, this was my first figure, and so instead of going down or to the left 2, you went to the right 2 and up 4 is what you're saying? Yeah, I would give you credit for that. All right. Okay. Which one isn't saying, it says, identify the quadrilaterals that are congruent, prove that they are congruent by showing our transformation. Which one is not? This one on the bottom? Okay, so this has kind of like a 2 by 1, 2 by 1. Yeah, this one is not, right? So we're going to kind of cross this one off. I need to get this one matched on top of that. Now notice if I go from A to B, that's like over 2 and down 1. That's not the same as this, right? That's like this side looks like it should go to this side, right? And this side here should go to this side, right? So how do I get it turned like that? What do I have to do?
You have to rotate.
I do have to rotate it, right? I got to turn it somehow. So we know we're going to be rotating it. How might I rotate it? Which way do I want to rotate it? I want to go down this way, right? I want to go. I want to turn this. And sometimes I'll have students say, "Oh, if I could just pick this whole drop up and turn it down here." Yeah, that's exactly what we're doing, right? We're taking these 2 and we're bringing them down here. So let's look at problems. So we're going to say rotate 90 degrees counterclockwise. That's going to be my first step. And this is what your homework looks like. So, okay. So what you want to do is you want to tell me those points. So let's go with D. I want you to just list them. A and B. List those ordered pairs right now. And check with your shoulder partner that you wrote down the right numbers. Okay? D, A, and B. So we got -4, 2, right? A is located at -2, how much? 3? B was located -1, 2. Okay? So going 90 degrees, going 90 degrees counterclockwise. Okay?
That's 0.
Oh, that is 0, 2. Thank you. 0, 2. That's even better. So our rule is XY changes, Robin, to what? When it's counterclockwise.
Is it line x?
Which one changes to the opposite?
I think it's -x.
Counterclockwise.
Oh, -1.
Put the arrow counterclockwise. -1. So D prime. Natalie's going to be where?
-2, -1.
-2. Wait, that's a 4. Sorry.
Oh, I was looking at it. Okay,
-2. Should say -4, right? So -2. We're going over here. -2. -1, 2, 3, 4. That's my D prime. A prime. What do you have, Maya? -3, -2. -3. Did I not go? Oh, I didn't do that one right. -3, 1, 2, 3, -2. Right? That's our A prime. Okay? So if we are looking at that, where is our B prime going to be if we're looking at that one, Kennedy?
-2, 0.
-2, 0. So now what do I have to do to get this shape up to here? Last step. Talk to your shoulder partner and make sure you count how far. Okay? So the second step. Translate it how? Anyone have how far we had to go? Get it to match up. Might be easier to count on yours, and I would picture drawing this on yours. So some of you, I look at your notes, and you don't have this in your notes. I would put this in your notes. Why? It's super easy then to count from A to match up to this point right here, right? That's what I'm trying to see. Where does A prime go to get to this point? What do we have? Anyone have it for me?
I do.
Daisy got it. Her hand was up first. Sorry, Sammy.
Okay, x plus 4
X plus 4?
and y plus 4.
Yes. Okay? This is what your worksheet looks like. Okay? So, it says which figures are congruent. There's always one that's not. Then it says write a transformation. And just like we did in our homework, the answers in the back are only going to list this. When I look at the answer in the back, this is what it's going to show. When I look at the answer, it's going to show this. Rotate 90 clockwise, translate, and it might have this. Or it might say to the right and up. I need to see how you did that, right? I need to see at least part of them. So like in our homework where I had to show you, oh, this is what we did first. You know, we did this picture first before we did the other one. Oh, this is where some of the points are before we then slid it down. I need to see a couple of the points on what you said was your first thing before you say your second thing. Because I would be amazed at some of your spatial reasoning if you could just look at things and say, you know, this is all I had to do and I just pictured it all. And that's great if you can, but I can't see in your head, so put it on your paper, okay? Hopefully tomorrow I'll have that working for that dream box. But if not, you will have time to work because I am not scheduling to do 14. And I want everyone caught up before we go on our bus trip if possible. Okay?